Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso are officially back together, not only as the Usos, but also as part of the original bloodline with Roman Reigns. However, tensions are still high following Sami Zayn's inclusion. While the Yeet Master is supporting Sami, Jimmy is not happy with this decision. Jey has now invited Zayn to SmackDown for a family discussion. Amidst this tension, it's possible that Jimmy Uso could betray Jey and bring in Zilla Fatu as his replacement for Survivor Series War Games. Fans have speculated that Zilla Fatu might soon join the Bloodline storyline. Recently, the 25-year-old hinted at his potential WWE debut by alluding to his involvement in WWE's ID program. This fuels rumors that he may soon enter the Bloodline saga. This potential storyline could see Jimmy and Roman Reigns beginning to view Jey as a liability. Additionally, Jimmy recently made it clear on Raw that he and the original tribal chief have no intention of associating with Sami Zayn after his actions in the past, which was seemingly aggravated further after his crown jewel appearance. Jey siding with Sami could create further friction, eventually leading Jimmy to betray his brother on SmackDown due to his support for the former honorary Uso. Post this, Jimmy Uso could bring in Zilla Fatu as a replacement for Jey, especially with Zilla's recent hint of a WWE debut. The 25-year-old star could then aid the OG Bloodline members in their battle against Solo Sikoa's faction at Survivor Series War Games. It will be interesting to see how the Bloodline saga unfolds next and how Zilla Fatu's potential debut plays out following these recent hints. Jimmy Uso could be a mastermind in the Bloodline saga. In an unexpected twist, Jimmy Uso could be revealed as the true mastermind in the Bloodline saga if he betrays the OG Bloodline to align with Solo Sikoa's faction. Jimmy was previously sidelined by Solo from the group, leading him to cost the self-proclaimed tribal chief a victory at Bad Blood 2024. Now, with tensions rising in the OG Bloodline, Jimmy might be revealed as the architect behind the discord. The Samoan twin could be working to keep Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns apart, ensuring they never reconcile. Jimmy Uso may have already planted seeds of doubt in the OTC's mind, making it difficult for Roman to forgive Sami for his actions, particularly after Crown Jewel 2024. This manipulation could be why Roman and Sami are unable to reunite. Furthermore, Jimmy's actions could also isolate Jey Uso, whose subtle support for Zayn may lead to his own separation from the faction. This would ultimately leave Roman Reigns alone, with Jimmy later revealing himself as the true mastermind when he aligns with Solo Sikoa. An angle like this would bring a shocking twist to the family saga and keep fans on the edge of their seats. The atmosphere in the WWE locker room was electric as the road to Survivor Series intensified. The stars of SmackDown and Raw were finalizing their teams for the upcoming Brand Warfare event. Among the most anticipated matchups was a clash of titans, the battle for supremacy between Roman Reigns' bloodline and the unified factions of SmackDown and Raw. But this time, the bloodline was facing more than just competitors. They were on the verge of self-destruction. Jey Uso, the former tag team champion and one half of the beloved Usos, was preparing himself for another historic night. He'd been on a wild ride since joining Roman Reigns in the bloodline, experiencing both triumphs and tensions, especially with his twin brother, Jimmy Uso. Despite their differences, the bond between Jey and Jimmy had been unbreakable. But that was about to change. Chapter 1. The Seeds of Doubt. Roman Reigns, the head of the table, was undeniably the force driving the bloodline's dominance. But as Survivor Series drew closer, the cracks in his family's unity were becoming harder to ignore. Jey Uso, always seen as the more emotional and impulsive of the twins, had grown increasingly restless with Roman's iron-fisted control over the family. While he was loyal to his cousin, the relentless power plays, the favoritism shown to certain family members, and the constant manipulation wore on Jey. Jimmy, on the other hand, had always been the more level-headed twin. After suffering an injury that temporarily sidelined him, He had watched as Jey navigated the treacherous waters of Roman's reign. While Jey was growing disillusioned, Jimmy had come to terms with the idea that in this family, there was only room for one to be truly in control. Roman Reigns was that man. And for the first time, Jimmy felt a pull, not toward Jey, but toward his own rise to prominence. Chapter 2. Roman's Plan and Jimmy's Choice. Roman was fully aware of the friction within the bloodline. He'd been watching his cousins for months, weighing their loyalty, testing their will. And when Survivor Series was announced, Jey Uso, having seen his brother's growing rebellion, was slowly drawn into a darker side of the business. He understood that Roman's rule was unshakable and that if the bloodline were to survive, it would need to evolve. But what he didn't expect was how easily Roman could manipulate his doubts. Late one night in the training room, Roman had approached Jimmy after a match. His voice calm but powerful, he laid out a vision. The bloodline needed a new face to carry its legacy, someone who would do what needed to be done. Someone who wouldn't hesitate to take what was theirs. Roman's plan was simple. He needed Jimmy's help to replace Jey with a new, younger star, a debuting talent with the potential to elevate the bloodline to new heights. Jimmy wasn't just being asked to be part of the plan. He was being groomed as Roman's new enforcer, the true power behind the throne. In the shadows, a new star had been preparing for their WWE debut, a towering figure with immense physicality and charisma. Jimmy was tasked with bringing this debuting star into the fold at Survivor Series. With this addition, the bloodline would not just survive, it would dominate. Chapter 3. The Betrayal Unfolds. Survivor Series night arrived. The stage was set for an epic clash between the bloodline and the best that Raw and SmackDown had to offer. The fans were on edge, speculating about the outcome. Roman Reigns stood at the center of the bloodline's corner, flanked by Jey Uso and Jey Uso. But something was off. Jimmy, usually steadfast and calm, seemed distracted. Jey, unaware of his brother's internal turmoil, was fired up, ready to put everything on the line. As the match progressed, the bloodline found themselves in a heated battle, with both teams showing their strength and determination. Then, at the most crucial moment, it happened. Jey was locked in a submission hold, struggling to escape. Roman Reigns was waiting on the apron, a sinister smile on his face, anticipating the perfect opportunity. Jimmy, standing next to Roman, looked at his brother, his eyes dark with conflict. For a split second, it seemed as if he would help Jey, but then his gaze shifted to Roman. His loyalty had shifted, like a dam about to break. With a sudden, unexpected move, Jimmy shoved Jey's shoulder into the steel post, knocking him out cold. The crowd gasped as Roman immediately rushed into the ring, striking Jey with a Superman punch. Jimmy's betrayal was complete. Roman, with a grin of approval, instructed the debuting star to make their move. From the shadows, a towering figure emerged, an athlete who had been waiting for this moment. The crowd erupted in shock as the newcomer laid out Jey with a brutal finishing move. The star, having replaced Jey in the bloodline, stood tall over him, symbolizing the rise of a new era in the family. Chapter 4. The Fallout. The betrayal sent shockwaves through the WWE universe. Fans could hardly believe what they had witnessed. Jey Uso, the twin brother who had always been by Jey's side, had turned on him in the most public and brutal way possible. Jey, battered and confused, was left lying in the ring as Roman Reigns and the new enforcer stood tall. Backstage, the tension was palpable. Jey, devastated by the actions of his own flesh and blood, was barely able to process the betrayal. He confronted Roman, demanding answers, but Roman's cold response cut through the air. This was always the plan, Jey. You were never meant to be the leader of the bloodline. You were never meant to carry the family's weight. Jey, now on his own, would have to pick up the pieces of his shattered legacy. His bloodline was no longer the united force it once was, and Jimmy's betrayal was a wound that would take years to heal. if at all. Epilogue: a new dynasty. As the dust settled from the chaos at Survivor Series, Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, and the debuting stars stood tall. The bloodline had entered a new era, one where the old bonds were broken, and only the strongest would survive. Jey, now firmly in Roman's inner circle, had secured his place as Roman's enforcer, while the new star took the mantle as the next heir to the throne. But for Jey Uso, the road ahead would be a lonely one. He had been betrayed by his brother, left in the dust, and his path would be one of redemption and revenge. The bloodline's future was uncertain. Would Roman's reign continue, or would Jey's quest for retribution tear the family apart? Only time would tell, but one thing was clear: the bloodline had fractured, and nothing would ever be the same.